and welcome to another episode of 4Tims podcast. It is Sunday the 30th of January and we're going to have a wee talk about what was a very good day to be a Celtic supporter yesterday and one that could prove to be very pivotal come May time. Tony, start with you. We did say it was going to be a big game on Saturday. You've been talking about winning all the games. I think you said win the next 4 games. Hibs, Hearts, Dundee United before Rangers. So Dundee United was always a massive game going in, but we got a wee boost before the game when Rangers drew 3 each at Ross County. What was your reaction? Was it like, oh, here there's a chance to get, or was it, oh fuck, this game's just became even bigger?
Well, I didn't see any of the Rangers game. I was driving back from Liverpool and I checked and I seen it was 2-1 to Ross County when I pulled in to fill the car up. Then I was driving and then I seen it was 3 each. But it took me a while to realise when Ross County scored because it was so late on. So, no, for me it was excitement. You've got a massive opportunity. The game does become bigger, I think. Well, either if they'd have won, you're 7 behind and there's it depends. I guess it's massive either way because you either need to make sure you close the gap or you need to make sure you apply the pressure. When I seen they drop points, and I was hoping, I said during the week to my dad, I says, just if Livy or Ross County could do us a favour and we win our games, then you would have the added bonus if we can beat them on Wednesday. We would go top of the league. But it has been a case for me, just win our games. I mean, there's not really any severe pressure on us. I think the way I see it is what's happened this season has been very unexpected for them. In their heads, when Hearts beat us the first game of the season, Postecoglou would never have won the League Cup. He would have been sacked by now. They would be 10, 15 points clear. It's not really went to plan for them, and I think it is after the winter break. They famously struggled, and they have again. I seen them against Aberdeen. I thought they were poor, and then to concede 3 to Ross County, that's fucking bad. So no, it was a great day, and for us, I thought we would batter Dundee United. I thought the tails were up, and I only got in for the second half. I says I was driving back, and all I done was shouting ball for 40 minutes. I thought we were slack, a lot of poor passing, and looked as though we'd run out of ideas a bit, and then we get down to 10 men, unfortunately. But it felt, when the goal went in, I really enjoyed that, kind of took it in, and then when the full-time whistle went, I was fucking delighted, I was so relieved. And guess if you want to win league titles, you need to fucking dig out results, be hook or be crook. I mean, we done it up at Ross County, we made sure we get the result with 10 men, we done it again yesterday, so we gave ourselves a great chance. And again, we're light on players, and we'll be light on Wednesday as well, unless McGregor or Kyogo make a miraculous recovery, because we're still with 6 or 7 big players: Turnbull, Rogic, Maida, Kyogo, McGregor. I'm sure there's another couple, so you need to give the team a lot of credit for digging in and making sure they get the win. I thought Abada took the goal brilliantly, and again, you see the unity with the team. We seem very united behind the manager and the players seem to love the manager and all be kind of bought in, so it's great. I mean, we're coming into February, we're still in the title race, we're well in it. We weren't expected to be, and I'm delighted we are. And I think if we can, even if we don't win on Wednesday, if we draw on Wednesday, I wouldn't be majorly upset, you know. I mean, but I think because it's been so long, we do need to beat them, and they seem to be quite unhappy now in terms of questioning their manager, and I think they feel he's quite defensive, but I haven't seen enough of them to comment on that. So I'm looking forward to a great game on Wednesday. The atmosphere will no doubt be fucking electric, and it's an opportunity again. If we can go top of the league, then that could be and then with all the players coming back, we might not look back, and that's an exciting prospect. But this season so far, I've been quite relaxed throughout. I always thought it was a rebuild.
That's a fucking lie. It's a stone-faced lie.
No, but let me lie, you fucking idiot. I've been very relaxed. No, but no, that way. For a long period, I never thought we had a chance in the league. I never thought we would win the League Cup. I thought it would be a rebuild season. The League Cup, I think we all says it was very important for us to be lifting silverware so soon after such a disastrous season. So I'm feeling the pressure. I was feeling it yesterday. I was getting very agitated and very annoyed that we didn't score. But when a goal goes in, it's just pandemonium. I'm sure everybody. Actually, I met a few people that listened to the podcast yesterday. Thanks very much for listening and who talked to me when you see me. But I just have a brilliant day out as well. Me, Andy and Dan were out with Celtic's greatest ever player, Brian McClare, and Lynch's. Anybody follows me on Twitter, they know me and Brian are the best of pals. So I only woke up at 4 o'clock. I was out till 5 in the casino. I actually met Stephen Welsh. I didn't tell you that. I met Stephen Welsh in the casino and I was speaking to him. I clocked him right away. So, that's my wee story of last night. But it wasn't gambling. I think he was having a wee drink with his missus. So, Danny, what did you think of the game? You must have enjoyed it as well.
It was one of the ones I tuned in. I had a real feeling that Rangers were going to drop points yesterday. So I did my usual, tuned into them, and then what I usually do is if they score, I just turn over. And they scored after about 3 minutes, and it was that new boy, and I thought, here we go. But I don't know, I stuck with it, and then they kind of struggled a wee bit, and they didn't really. I thought they'd kick on and score a couple, but they never. And then Ross County kind of crept into it. Next thing, it was 2-1 to Ross County, and I thought, right, I'm going to need to go for a walk and like come back in an hour and a half and just whatever's happened. And then ended up deciding against it because through here in Edinburgh it was like a fucking storm yesterday afternoon in the morning, so 3-2 up, and I thought that's a right chance and they're going to get away with it again because they had been quite poor, and I thought they keep getting away with it, and then in the 96th minute you get another big goal at Dingwall in that minute, which is very pleasing. But I thought, I said it to you in the chat, and I said it to a few others that I was talking to at the time, I thought that result meant that we were going to see if this Celtic team had the minerals to go and win the league. And I thought the first half, I kept saying to myself, don't panic if you don't score early, don't panic. But I was watching it and I'm thinking, we're too slow. I know he divides opinion on here, but I thought between Taylor and Juranovic, I think when the two of them aren't in the team, I know Juranovic doesn't divide opinion, he's brilliant, I know that it's Taylor, but I thought without the two of them, we lacked so much balance in the team. And Everton, like, I just don't think Forrest has got it anymore. He had a couple of I think he put a good cross in yesterday, but apart from that, I thought he just flattered to deceive. He didn't do anything, he just kind of ran about, and when he had the ball, he never really hurt Dundee United. I thought Abada played really well in the first half, but it was too flat, it was dead deliberate. Nothing really. I thought O'Reilly struggled to get into the game in the first half. I know he missed a sitter, but I thought him and Hitati kind of struggled to get a foothold of the game, as if they were just kind of buzzing about. Second half, I thought were a wee bit better when Juranovic came on, and then when Taylor came on, I thought we got a wee boost again. No through just Taylor, just having a proper team, and the boy Doc, who looked as if he's got a good bit of pace about him. I thought he could have got his head up a few times, but. And then you just think, no, we're going to blow it. And then I kept thinking that we're just going to blow it again. And it's like Livingston at home over again, when you've got a great chance to really put, a marker down for the team. And then he took, I've not said this, I was going to put it in the chat, but we went down to 10 men, they took Yakimakis off instead of Abada. I was fucking fuming at the telly. Like, but you taking him off, or like, take Abada off and just throw the ball into the box for Yakimakis to score. And of course, Abada scores for a fucking cross into the box. But it's another indicator of this team's mentality. They keep going. I kept thinking we were going to blow it, and then another side of me was like, no, we're going to score. And I actually thought when we were down to 10 men, we played a lot better in the last 10 minutes. And it was one of just a great day to get that winner in the roar at Parkhead when the goal went in was brilliant. It was a great finish by Abada under all. At the time he did well to bring it down and put it away. That keeper had a great game, although he saved for Giacomakis. I think that was actually going wide. He'd done a Chris Ualumo with I think that was actually going wide, and his keeper saved him the embarrassment. But for thinking that we were going to blow it, and I actually thought if we'd a drew yesterday, I couldn't have seen us win the league. In fact, I actually thought we might completely implode, because this is the second time we've got right close and we've kind of threw it away, but we've got all the momentum now with that goal. It was a massive goal. It's a great cross by Jota, and it's a great goal, and you just think now you're buzzing for Wednesday to go on, because they're hurting, we're on the up, and that goal just changed the results yesterday. Obviously these games are always massive, Darren, but I think this game's it's completely changed the narrative now, because they really, we can go tap and the momentum's all with us, and I think the 40 winning Wednesday will not look back. But Dan, you were at the game, what did you make of the way Celtic went about the game and how they responded to the Rangers result?
It was obviously a great start to the day. Like me and Andy were in Mullins doing our podcast. Thanks to everyone that came to that one. It was a great morning, but we were watching that game and you seen them go 2-1 up at half time. Everybody was buzzing, and then I had to leave to go to Celtic Park, and time I got there they were winning 3-2. But I was just going up the Celtic way when the equaliser went in, and the absolute board was incredible. I seen a great video that you sent me from the Kerrydale suite as well, and I'm sure the players would have been aware of it as well. And at that point I was just thinking, right, we need to hammer Dundee United. We need to get a few early goals and really put the pressure on. And like when the team had obviously already been announced at this point, but and when I seen it, I wasn't bothered that like Ralston and Scales were brought in. But when that equalised, and I just sort of wanted to change back to Juranovic and Greg Taylor and the likes, and Jota as well, obviously. But I thought the way Celtic started, it was a great atmosphere. Celtic. I think the game's, it's easy to say, but I think the game's completely different if Giakoumakis takes his early chance. I think it was about 6 or 7 minutes in, and the ball just either didn't seem to come down quick enough, or he just dilly-dally do it, and for some reason didn't expect a Dundee United player to track back and stop him from unleashing a shot. But I thought the fans, I think, sort of understood the importance of it and didn't get on the players back when, as you mentioned, you've got guys like Matt O'Reilly and Giakoumakis had a few as well where they were missing chances, and at times you would get frustrated against a team like that, because I thought Dundee United, for as much as I spoke in the preview that they'd been on a pretty poor run until midweek, I thought they played very well and frustrated Celtic a lot, and they started the second half very well. I think it was the first 10-15 minutes of the second half Celtic couldn't really get out of their own half, but as you mentioned, Danny, I think the double change at half time, especially Juranovic, really did change the sort of impetus this Celtic team had. Like I thought Scales and Forrest were really poor. I thought it was one of the worst sort of left-hand sides I've seen for Celtic in a long while. So to bring the two on was really, it's credit to the fact that our bench is obviously getting stronger as we get players back, but they two just showed that they were a class above when they came on, Juranovic and Jota. And as you said with Taylor, like he's not everybody's favourite, but it's sort of the other players that have been really shown how much into this system they are, and the manager clearly rates them. I think he was just trying to give a few boys a rest yesterday and hope that the team he selected would have enough. But I think the fact we had the 5 subs as well yesterday, you really seen the benefit of that. And as much as I did want us to hammer Dundee United and send a message, I think the way we ground this out was really, in a way, more impressive, because we'd obviously had disappointing draws at home against like Dundee United and Livingston already, and I was a bit like you. I thought, as much as the team would just went again on Wednesday, if we hadn't capitalised on that, then what had happened earlier in the day, I would have really, I might have started to question this team's mentality a bit more, because it's all right when we had the chance to go top against Livingston in October or early November, whenever it was, and we didn't take it. But when you're getting towards February, and although I said yesterday, obviously leagues aren't decided in February and January, but it does become a bit more important, and sort of psychological factor as well to give yourself a chance to go top. It just makes Wednesday even more like this. This Celtic team, I think, before the St Mirren away game, we were 7 points behind. So to be going in just a few games later with the chance to go top, I know it was sort of fitting that Joe Ledley was doing the Paradise Windfall draw at Celtic Park yesterday, because obviously he was part of a Celtic team that did turn around a sort of when they were chasing Rangers, and he got the goal that did put him top of the league that day, and hopefully this game will be similar. But no, I thought Abada, like, I would like to think that people will stop sort of questioning him. I know a lot of people for some reason had a few issues with Abada, but it's a boy who's 19 years old, and I thought he was the best player in the first half, and the composure he's shown in the 90th minute, because the way Celtic were going for that sort of goal, like he could have easily just lashed out of that and like blazed it over the bar, but his touch just absolutely sets it up perfect, and he needs Stigras no chance, who had the fine afternoon apart from that. But I was really impressed. I know people have been going through Beaton for the red card. Like, I'm not going to go through him for the actual foul that he gives away, because I think like it's a foul that I probably think he does need to give away. But what annoyed me about it was Beaton's. He sort of played a hospital ball to Greg Taylor, which put Taylor in difficulty. And look, Beaton shouldn't have had the foul, because Greg Taylor was clearly fouled. So like he's been let down by the referee in that regard. But I thought it was Beaton's sort of error in the first place that led to putting Dundee United in that situation. But I think the way, like as you mentioned, we'd done it up at Ross County already, where we were doing 10 men and stuck to our principles. And even if we hadn't got the winner yesterday, I think the way we just continued to be the ones chasing the game, like apart from the free kick that Beaton gave away, like I think that was Dundee United's pretty much only chance when Celtic were doing 10 men. But the way that the sort of, like, I think the goal starts with Taylor playing it back to Starfelt, out to Carter Vickers, and then Juranovic onto Jota and the cross in, and the rest, as you know, Abada finishes. It sort of everything just points towards how much I credit these players are to the manager and how committed they are to playing his way and sort of going to the final whistle. I know that was the sort of the message that was sent across in that training video that Celtic released in pre-season, but you're really seeing it time and time again now. And I just one my word for the crowd. I just thought the crowd were absolutely superb yesterday, and as I said, just kept going with the team, and everybody seems on the right track, Danny, and hopefully that culminates in us going top of the league on Wednesday.
I think it felt like a real turning point, that goal. You know, the Taylor 2 injury times yesterday, they concede, we score in our injury time. It did strike me that it's a massive turning point in the season, and there's been a few, no all in our way, but this one felt like ours. It felt like, I don't know, I just kind of, when they drew, I thought we're always going to win, but then you think they're going to blow it. But Andy Abada, Darren said he's had some critics, but he scored the first goal under Big Ange, and he scored the last goal currently, the most current up-to-date goal under Big Ange, and I think he's just scored the most important one. What was your thoughts on him and the rest of the game?
Again, I thought he probably was our most sort of dangerous outlet for the most part of the game. It was he's got sort of getting to the byline and also cutting in. He obviously offers a big threat for us. And he's a willing worker, which obviously helps considering the way that we play the game. And obviously, as mentioned, James Forrest, it's something that he doesn't really offer after the ball. But it was an odd game. I was a bit like yourself, Danny. I was just trying to tell myself, right, don't start panicking. It's fine, even at half time. It just come out again. It'll come. Just so I kept telling myself the goal was coming. But you know what it's like. You start to fear maybe we don't have the mentality for it, or maybe it's just not going to be there. We're just going to fall short again. Similar to how we did in the Livy game, and it's just not your day. You're just trying to sort of talk yourself out of that, and obviously the crowd played a massive part of that. I think sometimes, probably too often, it's easy for the crowd to turn. The minute somebody plays a backwards pass or whatever, people are so eager to go on their back as opposed to just letting them play football and keep possession and try and work an opening. But I thought particularly late on in the game, there was just that drive to push the team on. I think even you seen it when Jota came on, he was obviously gesturing to the crowd to sort of get loud and back us and give some support, and that's exactly what happened. I thought the crowd really did push it and push the team out of the line, which sometimes that's exactly what you need. But I think it was Dan that said that it really could have been sort of 2-3 at half time. It was one of the games, I think, if we ran it back again, like Jackie Mackis probably scores that chance, O'Reilly probably gets one. And I think if we go at the one early on, then we would have scored a couple. I think they just we left them with something to cling on to for so long, and that's eventually what they tried to do. But again, the most important thing for that match was winning. I said it before in Malone's when me and Tom were discussing it. For me, it was this game. Listen, the way we play and everything else is important, but for this game, I just wanted to win it, just get the 3 points. Didn't matter how, when, where, or why we done it. I just wanted the 3 points in the bag, because it really showed that we are up for it, and we do have the minerals. And you seen that again, even with the bench. Like, we're obviously struggling in terms of we've got boys away international duty and injuries, as we've mentioned and we keep mentioning. But again, we turn to the bench and sort of bringing people on to try and impact the game. Even sort of young Doak, when he came on, I thought he'd done himself no harm. He was trying to have a go at the full back. He was trying to make things happen. He was energetic and he looked confident. We didn't sort of shy away from what was being asked of him. So again, it was good to see. But I thought it just felt it really did feel like a turning point, if you like, for the season for me, that game. As I say, it wasn't the prettiest performance. It wasn't. So they didn't have the best game of his career, but neither did most of the team. But I thought they really sort of dug it out They kept going, they kept believing, they never sort of panicked and started resorting to, right, we're just going to fucking batter this ball up apart and see what happens. Hopefully it falls, or hopefully something will drop for somebody. We went about it with purpose, Danny, and we tried to we stuck to our guns, and I was a bit similar to yourself, strangely enough. I was saying it to Kev, who I sat next to the game, that it was odd because we were consistently sort of putting the ball wide and trying to make things happen, get the ball in the box, and then we took Giakoumakis off, and I was a bit similar to yourself. I thought that's an odd one for me. Like, if you're going to keep crossing it in, then surely, I know the big man's missed a couple of chances and things like that, but surely it's him you would back to get the goal. In a bad, I probably would have been the other alternative, given that Jota and Doak and things had just came on. And then, like you say, he misses that header. Should have done better. It wasn't an easy chance, but he probably should have done a bit better with it. And you're thinking, oh fuck, is that the opportunity? Was that the sort of last glimmer? And then the ball comes in. I think it's Jota that puts it in, and his first touch is fucking exquisite. But today, at that late point in the game, with the importance, with the way the crowd were going, just absolutely roaring it in. Like, it's the composure to do that. And as we said a million times, I've had get such a hard time for. I've got no idea. I don't know. Like, people just get their agenda because I don't know. It's not a done thing to watch football with your eyes as much for a lot of people. But today, at that moment in that game, a game of that importance and the significance, when they had dropped points. So it really is sort of putting everything into our hands once again. We're in complete control, and that was a bad that had done that. But it was just good to see the team. There was never a point where I felt they were panicked, even getting down to 10 men. It's just seems Beaton does these things. Like, it's just like I don't trust on a booking at any stage, whether it was sort of a foul on Taylor or no. It just seems as if Beaton always puts himself in these positions to get sent off. But as I say, like, the team for me didn't even look as if they'd started to panic. I think they believed if they kept going with the same sort of outlook, the same philosophy, it will come. And that's exactly what happened. Danny, and it really just, it felt like a turning point. I was saying that to Tony and Darren after the game. For me, it just felt as if that could be one of the points, one of the days rather, that we look back on, hopefully at the end of the season, saying that was the point right there where there was a shift. It changed that day, and everything obviously hopefully goes in our favour.
No, I completely agree. I thought that the big goal at the end was a turning point. I thought it was a wee indicator of this team's mentality. And it's funny because as the game was progressing, I thought we're going to look back in May and think that fucking Giakoumakis penalty, and then this game that we've let ourselves down. But then it would maybe just sum up the season to see that out as a nut in each straw yesterday. But I need to give Dundee United credit. I thought they played really well. I thought they came with a game plan. I actually thought they would be there for the taking when Fuchs signed for Peterborough the day before the game. But they're a really good player. I'm really impressed with the boy on the right hand side. I think he's a Finnish boy. He works awful hard for them. Tony Watts obviously gave him a different focal point as well. So it was a massive win. It was a great win to get. Thought the fans were really good. Because I think there was outcries of kind of frustration when break moves were breaking down or the ball was going out of play, like for goal kicks and stuff, misplaced passes. But I think the fans realised that how big a game it was, and like there was kind of moans, and then I think it was probably the same people were realising, and then the whole crowd were going mad again. I thought it was a great roar. 4 or 5 times the second half, the fans really get a massive roar. Like when maybe the play broke down to roll the team on, and then when the goal went in, everybody got the rewards. We've all seen the video of Jota in the stand. Just great scenes that you hope that you can look back on in a couple of months and say, well, that played its part in something special. But looking ahead to Wednesday night, we're playing our old rivals at Parkhead. We've not beat them in over 2 years. I think if we go in 4 points behind, McGregor plays. Even with Beaton getting sent off yesterday, Dan, will come to you first. I think it doesn't risk McGregor now that we're only 2 points behind. What do you think?
It wouldn't surprise me. Like, I know people will want to hear this, but the fact that we're only 2 points behind does change it in that regard, because if fucking worst case scenario they fluke a win or Celtic don't turn up and get beat, then you're going to be in a better position than you were at the start of January. And like it's always a massive game, and I've already said how pivotal I think it is. But Callum McGregor, I know, like we don't know the full extent, and just keeping his cards close to his chest. But I think you've seen with the sort of Kyogo in the cup final and like games like that, and just showing that he's not afraid to throw guys in, like even threw McGregor back in when he was injured early in the season. I think it was against was it Leverkusen at home that him and Kyogo came back and they were sort of just thrown in. I think if McGregor, if he's ready, I'm more than happy to throw him in if there's any sort of doubt, like, because the thing is, it's different with risking him if it's like if it was a muscle injury or a hamstring injury, like it's alright saying, oh, he could be alright, we'll see how he goes. But with this type of game, with the sort of facial injury he's got, Danny, I just think it's a massive risk if the medical team hasn't cleared them if you do play Callum McGregor, because before you see a team, before you see the ball, any ball being kicked on Wednesday, you just know it's going to be a physical battle, and the last thing you'd want is any sort of further aggravation of that injury, because it's not as if he's going to come on and 10 minutes later he'll know that if it was a leg injury or an arm injury or something like that, he knows that it's not there and he just comes off. It's sort of one of the ones that pretty much from the first whistle you've seen, like 15 years ago now, when Christian Daly went for a ball and Barry Robson let him know he was there. Like, if that sort of happened to Callum McGregor, then if he's not been cleared and he's not ready, then that could be sort of catastrophic for our season and Callum McGregor's involvement in it. But so I don't think I'd be taking a risk with him at this point, and as you say, I definitely think yesterday's result probably would play a part in Ange's thinking behind that as well.
I'm stuck, Tony, between it is obviously it's a massive game and it's a great chance for us to go tap, but I also think the pressure's on them now, because last week or 10 days ago or whatever, they're 6 clear and everything's great, and then all of a sudden they need to come to Parkhead and avoid defeat to stay tap the league. I just think that there's such a great chance for us, but the pressure's been taken off us. But there should be pressure on us to go tap the league, if you know what I mean. But would you risk McGregor, or do you think that even with Beaton getting sent off, do you think they could maybe bring in a McCarthy or Sorrow or maybe Gucci?
Well, it's an interesting one. It's not as if you're risking McGregor and he could get a further injury. It's not like a leg injury, it's his face. I mean, I think you would need to be clear cut. I mean, you don't want him to heat of the ball and it fucking aggravates it. So I think you'll only play if he's medically cleared. I don't think you could risk him if he's not able to head of the ball, for example, or it could aggravate his injury. So look, if Callum McGregor feels okay and feels that he's recovered for the, I don't know what the injury is. Obviously, he's got a lot of bruising, and of course you play him. He's fucking massively important. I mean, it's easy to say the pressure's on them, and I guess the pressure's on whoever. If somebody loses, the pressure will go back on them. But I know what you mean. I mean, if it was worst case scenario, we would only be 5 behind, which is an improvement for the start of January, and we still have so many players left to come back, and we still have to play them twice. So, but I think we need to beat them. We're well overdue. It's nearly fucking 2.5 years since we beat them, which is unacceptable for Celtic. So it's a huge game. I think if we can win, I think their fans would be really worried that the fact that we've managed to go top of the league. I mean, you've seen some of the stuff about Big Ange and how he's an idiot, despite the fact that he's the only person to pick up silverware this season. So it's a huge game. It'll be it's good to get a Wednesday late night game. I do enjoy them. I just feel as though we're due a win against them, and we'll see how it goes. But there's still a lot of football to be played. It's a massive couple of months ahead. We're still in the hunt for the treble, and if we can win on Wednesday, we'll become the favourites for the league and probably the favourites for the Scottish Cup, which is quite incredible. So no, I think if we're going to win, we'll need to take our chances early, because we do tire a bit. We've seen that. So I think we'll come out very fast, and I think it's a a case of rattling balls in the box. You need Giamakis to be getting on the end of them, and we need to make sure we get a couple of early goals, I think, and then the whole place will go Joe bananas. So no, looking forward to it. I must admit.
It's funny because I would agree with you about the team. I thought we looked against Hibs, it flattened out the second half. I thought against Hearts and Wednesday night we looked. I wouldn't say we looked tired, but we looked as if we could be doing with definitely be doing with the final whistle. But then we go with 10 minutes and score in the last minute, and then we done it at Ross County as well. So they can mix it up a wee bit, but Andy, it's going to be huge. There's no getting away from it. It's a big game Wednesday night, middle of the week. Plenty of time for a drink before and after, well, before the game. What sort of game are you expecting on Wednesday night?
I think if everybody wasn't looking forward to it enough, with everything that's going into it, and then the fact that they're letting us play a sort of Wednesday night game, that what just happened in terms of their result, the possibility to right a lot of wrongs and put us top of the table. I think everybody's just fucking ready to go for it. I think the lineups are, I don't know, I'm to and fro in my mind. I've said it to you, I've fucking said it to everybody. I don't know whether it's hope or I'm not sure, but there's something in my mind that even with Kyogo, I'm like, oh, he's going to feature, he's going to be on the bench, he might start. It's probably just clinging on to hope that that's the case. But even obviously now Beaton will be suspended. As you've just obviously spoke about Callum McGregor, I don't know whether he's going to feature. Is Ideguchi going to be back? I really couldn't predict the lineup going into this game. If it was anybody else in the league, then I'd feel fairly confident I could. But with this one, I'm really unsure. Because I think, let's be honest, every single player, whether they're 10% fit or 100% fit, if they've got a chance to play, they're going to be telling the manager they can and they want to. But in terms of the game itself, I think you're just going to see one of them in the first 10 minutes. It's just going to be absolutely bonkers. I think the crowd will be right up for it as always. The crowd's been brilliant recently, in particular, but I think this one will be fairly special in terms of the crowd themselves. But I think it's going to be one of the games that it's just a frantic first 10 minutes. You're seeing fouls, every throw-in's cheered like a goal. It strikes me as one of them. And sort of the intense matches where players are fucking blown out their arse after 10 minutes because of the pace that is played at. I think it just reeks of that for me. But really looking forward to it. As I've said before, I've seen Ange's teams have every type of performance now that I need to see to know that they've got a bit about them. They've had 6-goal thrillers, they've ground out results, they've dominated teams and battered them 5-0. I've seen everything for them, and again, I've seen enough for Rangers to know that they really don't strike much fear into me. But listen, these games, a lot of the time, form goes out the window. That'll always be the case. They're not really as predictable as any other game in football. We've seen it countless times over the years. We've experienced both ends of it, so it's hard to really with any real sort of belief that you can comment exactly how it's going to go. But I think we're up for it. I think the players will be up for the fight. They'll know how important that is, and I think where it's being played is going to be a massive factor here. Danny, games at Parkhead are always special, but I think this one, they're mentally fragile right now. They really are. It's sort of teetering on that edge where somebody just really needs to push them, and the wheels will fall off. And I think this could be that. As I said, we will look back on Saturday. Yesterday is the moment of the season really turning, but I think this could be the start of the next domino going before the chain reaction, and I really do believe that this could be that. I think the significance isn't lost in anybody, and even just as I said, Jota came on and the way he was gesturing to the crowd, like the players were really looking to me as if they were up for it. They knew how important it was. They understood just what it means, and I think you're starting to see that. You're seeing a team who's up for a fight. I'm just looking forward to it, Dan. It's obviously we all went a long time with the football, and we missed a lot of these games and didn't get to sort of play Rangers at Parkhead with full capacity and things like that. That was the one that we were supposed to just before the shutdown happened, and I think there's a lot getting into this game for a lot of people, and the significance it really isn't lost. But as I said, it's going to be one of the frantic games where it's just 100 mile an hour starting, and hopefully we can capitalise on that and just get after the best start in the game and then implement our way of playing, because I really don't think they'll be able to cope if we're on song.
No, I think it is. I think it's all about how we play on Wednesday night. I think a lot of Celtic games are like that. I think we'll be right up for it. I can't see us not being up for it. You're getting 60,000 Celtic fans at Parkhead. There's no Rangers fans. It's going to be a cauldron of noise. Everything that's good about Celtic, it'll be like a special Celtic Park night, and it's really up to Rangers to stop the fans. Stop the fans making noise, and the team are going to be right up for it. And I just think Angela the team up for it. I think we've usually prepared well in the bigger games this season. I thought we played quite well at Ibrox. I don't think we deserved to get beat. It was a 50-50 game. It was settled on a set piece. I think if that game doesn't get played to late September, maybe early October, then we might have got a draw or better. I think we certainly plenty of chances. So I think the team are ready. They've not played them again. They've got the wee boost. There's the added bonus incentive now that winning puts them top of the league. So I think if we're going to win the league this year, we need to beat them on Wednesday night. I'm not saying if we don't beat them, we'll not win the league, but in my opinion, they need to know what it feels like to beat this Rangers team, because they're not a great team. But they have only lost one game in 60 odd league games, so we need. It's all right saying once they lose a game they'll fall off the cliff, but they've not lost. They've only lost the one game this season, so we need to beat them, and I think we will. I back Celtic to win. I've been to and fro all the last couple of weeks about Kyogo. I was 2 weeks ago. I was absolutely convinced that he was starting. Now I'm not so sure. But even with the squad, I would personally risk McGregor if he's fit. I think it would be a big bonus to the team. It would be a massive shot in the arm if the captain leads us out on Wednesday night into battle sober, and we just need to go at them straight away. I think Jota starting's an absolute must. I would go with Jackie Marcus up front, and Abad out right. I would drop Forrest. I would play, the same back four. I'd go Juranovic, Taylor, Carter Vickers, Starfield, and then to and fro. And I think if Gucci's fit, I would maybe play him instead of McCarthy if they don't risk McGregor. I think Gucci could be good to track Aribo, because they're just going to give Aribo the ball and hope that he can produce something with it. I would have Gucci on him and just Josh Haran to Ronaldinho, just say wherever he goes, you go. But I think it'll be good. I think it'll be an exciting game, and I think Celtic win. So we'll just wrap it up. We go with predictions. Darren, I'll start with you. Get your predictions for Wednesday night.
I think it's a massive game. I know Andy said about form going to Windy. I'm not 100% on board with that. I think that the form, especially in the last 2 weeks, is going to play a part, because I think that they're going to be low in confidence. They hung on for a point at Aberdeen. They arguably could have dropped points against Livingston. It was a late goal with them, and there was a dubious handball as well. And then again yesterday, I think if Celtic are on the front foot and get an early goal, I think it could be. I don't know if it'll be an hour doing, but I think Celtic will be completely comfortable if they can get the first goal and dictate how the game's played. Like we've seen at Ibrox, the impact a full home crowd. Like I think the Celtic fans will just look to make it as hostile as possible whenever Rangers players touch the ball, and I think a lot of them won't be able to handle it. I think that they obviously had a great season last season, but that was with no fans at all, and I think that's what Celtic players thrive on. Like you seen when they were going, and yesterday Abada's in the crowd at one end, and you've got Jota and Juranovic in another corner for the crowd as well. I think the fans will be play a massive part on Wednesday, and I'm pretty much the same as you. I don't think the game's going to decide where the title goes, but for Celtic to get on top and the psychological aspect for that for me would be massive, and I really think that it is important for us. It's not the be all and end all, because it wouldn't mean much if we go and win on Wednesday but then lose our next league game, because you're just handing the initiative back. But I think if Celtic get on top, they'll just look to keep the foot down and keep this great run going. Like, I know we lost 3 of our first away games this season, and we're quite a bit back. But that, like, you look at when we went to Ibrox, that was 5 months ago, and the Celtic team's completely changed. Even not get guys like Edward and Ryan Christie there anymore, and like the team's much more into the ways of playing and established with each other. They've got great relationships. Like, you look at like Carter Vickers and Starfelt, they'll be our starting centre halves, and Carter Vickers wasn't even at Celtic when we went to Ibrox. So I think my team are not the midfield. I think is the only sort of questionable bit. I hope possibly Ange's got a sort of ace up his sleeve and does produce a McGregor or a Ideguchi, but I think it'll be Hatate or Riley, and I would be slightly concerned if it is McCarthy. I think it will be if none of the other ones are available, just because that's who Ange's turned to. But the pace of the game's going to be 100 mile an hour, and that would sort of worry me with McCarthy, because I think the game does sort of seem to go by him a bit when it's at a fast pace, and it's quite noticeable for him. Front three, I think for me it has to be Abada, Giakoumakis and Jota, and if it is, then I'm fully confident that Celtic can get at that defence. They're turning on the goalkeeper that's bailed them out against us numerous times over the years, and they're turning on the left back that's playing centre half as well yesterday. Their defence isn't what it was last season. Especially the first half of last season, they built their sort of lead over us by getting clean sheets everywhere they went. But I can't see it being a sort of goalless game or a game of few goals. I think it will be quite open, and I think Celtic will win 3-1, Danny. I just think the crowd's going to be absolutely rocking. I think the momentum's completely with Celtic. Like, you're starting to see that when Rangers come up against a bit of adversity with their new manager, they don't seem to have the answers for it. I know they were caught late yesterday, but that wasn't a one-off yesterday. Every game they've played since the winter break, they've sort of struggled. And you know what? Like, when you see Rangers fans on social media, I think they know that Celtic are going to beat them on Wednesday. They fear Jota, they fear Kyogo, and most importantly, I think they fear Ange Postecoglou. And I think this will sort of culminate in a comfortable Celtic victory. I think we'll win 3-1, and I think Jota's almost certain to get on the score sheet. I think he's due a goal. I think Matt O'Reilly, he got in a lot of good areas yesterday, and I think he'll get on the score sheet. And then I think Georgios Giakoumakis will get the third and endear himself to the fans. I know he's pretty poor yesterday, but I think he'll get a goal and all will be forgiven, and the Celts will go top of the league on Wednesday, in my opinion, Danny.
That's good. Tony, a wee prediction for you for the game?
5-0. No. 2-0 Celtic. I think it'll be a good game. I think Hatate is going to be so important. Jota will be extremely important. Can he play James McCarthy? He's not good enough to play in that game. I think if Ideguchi's fit, then I would play him. Of course, McGregor's fit, he has to start. I would play O'Reilly. Back four would be Taylor, Juranovic, Starfelt and Carter Vickers. Jota, Giakoumakis, Abada, O'Reilly, Hatate, McGregor if he's fit. If Ideguchi isn't fit, then it fucks us up a wee bit, I suppose. I would play Soro before I play McCarthy. I know I might sound a bit mad, but just think McCarthy, every game could pass McCarthy by. I think he's too slow. So, 2-0, I'll go for a Jota double.
Andy, are you going for a Celtic win, or are you going to go against the norm?
3-0 Rangers. No, I think I was actually going to say 2-0. Usually I would change it, but to try and get a wee different scoreline. But I'm going to stick with 2-0 because that's what I've been thinking myself all day. I actually agree with most of what Tony's just said. I was just going to say the same, that if it's the case that McGregor and Ideguchi really can't play, then I would sooner have Soro in before I had James McCarthy. I just can't bear to watch him try and play football for Celtic anymore. And a game, the pace this game's going to be played at in particular, it really would just pass him by. It would be like missing a man in the middle of the park. And even in transition, like, he really does just slow us down, and you try to make things happen and even break quickly and counter quickly, and he does none of that. He's just so passive. It's really not his game at all, and I really would rather just have Sorrow in there. Splits a lot of opinion, but I'd have Sorrow in there before him. And as I mentioned before, with Kyogo, I still think that ace is up Postecoglou's sleeve. I mean, I could be wrong. It won't surprise me if I am, but as I've said, I for some reason it's just been. I think it's always sort of they've been nursing him to try and get him back, and again, and probably fancied us to do the business against United without having to turn to him. So I really do think that he's got to feature in some capacity. McGregor, again, it just comes down to whether or not the medical team approve him to play. I'm sure if you asked McGregor, does he want to play, he would be saying aye. And he would do it anyway. It's the type of player that he is. But if the medical team deem him fit enough, then get him on. He's vitally important to us. Not only as a captain, but the way that he plays in particular. And you've already seen in the sort of limited time that he's had playing with Tati already, that they're starting to sort of bounce off each other and form a partnership in the middle of that park. And again, he just ticks us over. He's got so much to his game, so missing that would obviously be huge for any team. So again, if he's fit in any way and can play, then he's going to be back in. So it's the team lineup's going to. I think it'll be surprising itself. I think it's, as I said before, it's probably going to be difficult to say it and get it right if we were predicting a starting 11. But again, you're going to see Juranovic come back in. He's been brilliant. He really is such an important player for us, particularly when he comes inside and gets himself on the ball and makes things happen. And again, you've seen his recovery run. When he got in front of the ball, you kind of meant who it was that was through and goal and got the ball away as well. He's got a lot to his game. And he's got a decent delivery as well. And Taylor's going to come in. Scales really didn't cover himself in much glory. So it's the back line's probably the one I would say that. I would say the back line's the one that you could predict, but the rest of the team's probably a bit more difficult. But I'd go 2-0, Danny. And I think that, I don't know who the second score will be, but I reckon Giacomakis gets one. And as you see, a lot of people sort of start that forgiving process.
I think it'll be 2-0 as well. I've been thinking that for a while. I think Giacomakis will score as well. I think Jota will have a really good game. But I'm going to say Hatate and Giacomakis get the goals, and we are coming on here, whether it's it'll be Thursday night, but we're coming on here to Happy League, so unless anybody else is getting to say, we'll wish you adieu and bid you a good evening.
Obviously, rest in peace to Wim Jansen. It was a nice tribute to him yesterday. We've not been on since, but a great Celtic man who in our history will always be remembered as the man that stopped them doing the 10 and the man that brought one of, well, if not our greatest ever, the greatest Celtic player in our lifetime anyway.
Well said. So if you've made it this far, then thanks very much for listening. We'll be back probably Thursday night, result dependent. So if you're going to a game, have a good one. And here's home Celtic Attack League before the week's out.